Okay guys, so today I was going to be talking about that whole George Zimmerman versus Trayvon Martin thing, and I decided since everyone's talking about it, it's pretty big right now, I'd do a video on it and I would express my opinions. The first thing I'd like to point out is why the heck is it so big? I hate to say it, but little or like black teenagers die every day. Well, you mean white teenagers and black teenagers die every day, but you mean because of like gangs and inner city violence and stuff, like especially black teenagers. It's sad, but they die every day. It just happens, and I'm pretty sure it probably happens quite often that they get killed by white people, even though George Zimmerman is Mexican. I don't know, but they're turning it into some huge racial issue, and like it really, I don't know why it's so big. It's almost like they're using it to cover up something else. That's usually what's going on, is that they try to cover up some other news, some other events. Like maybe the NSA spying or something like that. But anyways, a few other things is that ultimately, like, when you come down to who I'm going to side with, I'm going to side with George Zimmerman. Alright? Because, even though he shouldn't have been, like, stalking him or following him, whatever, their neighborhood was, I guess, robbed. And then, all the evidence just points to George Zimmerman being innocent. I heard the recording of his screamings, and that was clearly George's screamings. That was not Trayvon. Trayvon, he wasn't 12 when this happened. Like, it first showed on the media. He was like a 17-year-old jock. He could easily outrun him. Honestly, I think he was probably like beating the crap out of him. In the struggle, George had to take out his gun and like shoot him and defend himself. I honestly, I think Trayvon was like some ghetto kid. He was beaten. Eyewitnesses all point out that he was innocent. And then just the general rule of thumb is that if it's somewhat sketchy, always vote innocent if you're the jury. And again, this is one thing that always pisses me off about our justice system or any justice system, is you get to vote on whether or not someone's innocent or guilty. I should do a whole other video on that, but that, in my opinion, is just stupid. Like, a group of people can just decide that you're guilty and you're guilty. I understand maybe it's better than like some dictator deciding, but still, there's got to be a better way than that. There's got to be like more guidelines, more safety nets, so that even if the jury agrees someone's guilty, they can still be found or decided as innocent. Or they need to give more. They already gave advantages to defense. They need to give like supreme advantage to the defendant, in my opinion. And if you don't feel safe with that, well, you should buy a gun and protect yourself. Alright, freedom isn't about being safe. Another thing I'd like to point out is that, I think that a lot of it is emotional. Like, when you see, like, the people who sided Trayvon, they're like, oh, he shot a little black kid, and oh, he's racist, and it was so sad, why do you have to do that? And he's like, he's freaking beating the crap out of the man. This is one of those things where responsibility comes in. If you're gonna pick a fight with someone, be ready to get shot or killed or beaten up. I'm sorry, it's sad that this happened, but it's just the way life is. And I heard his mom up there saying, yes, that was my son's voice I heard. One, obviously, she's a mom, she wants justice for her son, and she's sad, I can understand that. And two, like, you tend to hear, like, what your mind wants you to hear in situations like this. That's sort of just the way it is. So, like, yeah, I definitely have to side with George Zimmerman on this for everything, Seriously, it pisses me off that he even made it through the grand jury, and they probably, like, select a jury just to make him guilty, which I personally think, like, jails are just filled with non-violent criminals and innocent people, really. Like, yeah, there are bad people. I honestly, like, if someone just tore down the jails and set them all free, I would be completely fine with that, you know. And again, in my opinion, if an innocent person goes to jail and there's even like the slightest bit of suspicion that they may have been innocent or like a slightest reason how they could have been innocent, I honestly think that you take everyone responsible, everyone involved, and you hang them. Dress them up in pretty colors and hang them on a Christmas tree, because you know what? That's not something you mess around with. You know, if you're going to try and prosecute someone for committing a crime they didn't commit, you know, if you're the judge, you're the prosecutioner, you should hang. Alright? That's just the way it is. And, yeah, another point I wanted to make out is that I saw somebody say that, oh, well, if Trayvon tackled him and he was holding him down, how was he able to, like, free his gun out and shoot? Well, I mean, when you're in a struggle, I mean, all sorts of things can happen. I mean, I do not doubt at all George at one point found a chance to free his gun. You mean, that's probably why he was screaming, yelling so much, because it was hard for him to, and then finally, you know, he managed to reach and get his gun out, because I mean, I've been tackled and I've managed to, like, pull out knives. Like, I didn't actually use them. It was just, like, the point, like, how I could have done it, you know. So, yeah, those are some of the points that I'd like to make. You know, all the evidence is favoring George Zimmerman. If he turns out guilty, I'm going to be, like, so pissed off. Like, seriously, like, beyond belief. Like, you know what? God curse the prosecution. Just God, if you're siding with the prosecution, God curse you. All right. I hope that you fail all of your attempts at prosecuting him. God bless George Zimmerman, and God bless our right to self-defense and whatever freedoms we may still have. Auf Wiedersehen.